but today, I'm the greatest of all time. Thank you.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters. And we ain't got nothing to hide, we move forward like soldiers. You better wake up for the pace up, or you'll pay up. Don't make love to the game, bruh, fuck the game up. Change up, rearrange stuff to your greatness. Famous for the way up, play the game, bruh.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top, yeah.
You know I'm always honest, there ain't no way I'm ever stopping.
I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top,
I'm always flirting with pain, she like to hurt me and maim. I'm always working to change, but she's still lurking the same. I keep on building a dynasty while the haters be trying me, but they hate from inside.
All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Unscripted here on the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network. I'll be your host, producer, moderator, extraordinaire, whatever you want to call me this afternoon, Logan Landers. And join me to help break down the NFL Conference Championship games, as always, Jay McLove. What's up, Jay?
Hey, I'm doing well, my brother. Doing well. Lots of things have gone on, and I just want to say shout out to Kevin Porter Jr. I see you escaped your charges, but you still ain't coming back to the Rockets. We don't need
Oh, man. Well, guys, hey, if you enjoyed the episode, give us a like, follow, share, subscribe. As you know, we go live each and every single week here on our channel. So it's going to be on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. It's going to be on Twitch, X now. Really all major podcast streaming platforms, as well as social media platforms. You can find us over there. Easiest way to find that, though, is in our link tree, which is in the description of all of our episodes. It's a one-stop shop. You can give us a follow there, and we appreciate all the continued love and support. Jay McLovin, 32 teams in the NFL. These are the final four. Let's get into it, my brother. After an exhilarating divisional round, we are now moving forward to the championship. With the four teams we'll be covering today, only two will make it to the Super Bowl. And let's get into the main event. This is going to be a great game here in the AFC. You got the Baltimore Ravens, who have been heavy favorites pretty much the entire season, taking on the Kansas City Chiefs, who were down and out. I mean, a lot of people didn't think they'd even get this far. And they are now, for the sixth consecutive year, going to make an appearance in this conference championship game, representing the AFC. So, Jay McLovin, let's do a little breakdown, my friend. Talk about the Ravens and talk about the Chiefs, how this one's going to go, what you like from both teams, what are their weaknesses, and ultimately who you think will be moving on to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I want to point out is Blue's always like on security alert. It's crazy. One thing I want to point out is the fact that, number one, Mark Andrews is still not playing. So I guess I don't expect to see Mark Andrews at all. So there are going to be lots and lots more to Zay Flowers, Odell Beckham, and company for Lamar. Obviously, the Ravens are heavily favored. Logan, I think 63% on ESPN versus like 37% or something like that for the Chiefs. Second road game. Right, so they still are not going back to Arrowhead anytime soon. So they will have to go to Baltimore. They will have to play in Baltimore. So now you got their home field advantage. And I will tell you, Logan, not that the Buffalo Bills don't have a good defense, right? But this Ravens defense, in my opinion, is probably the best one in the league. They are incredibly fast. They are big. They are strong at the linebacking core. Good cornerbacks to cover down. So Travis Kelce is going to have to put up a huge game for these guys. Hardeman, can he come in and do something? I don't know. Kadarius Toney, obviously he's not. That guy Rice, I think is probably their best wide receiver one option, I think, out of the group. But I really think, Logan, there's a lot that these guys are going to have to contend with. Can I don't know if Patrick Mahomes has enough magic out there to get past the Ravens, right? Jason Kelce's going to be there. You know Taylor Swift is going to be there. I fully expect Jason Kelsey to take off his shirt and jump out of the bandstands again. We know that, right? But it's incredible, right? Dalvin Cook is there now, so they got a really good running game full of backs, and obviously Lamar Jackson. But my biggest thing, Logan, and I'm gonna turn it over to you. My biggest thing is can they contain or limit the mobility of a Lamar Jackson? And I don't think they can. They had a really hard time with Josh Allen, who's another mobile quarterback, but this is nowhere near the level of a Lamar Jackson. And I think Lamar's mobility could be one of the things that hampers that defense.
Well said, man. Doing a quick review of the divisional games. A lot of people thought that the Texans would put up a good fight against the Ravens, man, and ultimately it was a blowout, 34-10 final score in that one. You saw that Houston was a team who's on the rise. I think they're going to do great things in the future. But the present day, man, the here and now, it runs through Baltimore.
Right.
The thing that impressed me, man, obviously, Lamar Jackson, MVP front runner, has a really good chance at winning said award. He did it all. If you look through the air, 152 yards, not the most, stat-wise impressive, but he was 16 to 22. That's efficient. 2 touchdowns, no INTs. That's all you need. But that wasn't really the story, man. The real story for the Ravens and their dominance, especially on offense, was the running game. It was Lamar running for over the century mark. He got 100 on 11 carries. He scored 4 touchdowns in that game, man. 2 on the ground, 2 in the air. That you can't get much better than that. But I also want to highlight how good Justice Hill, Gus Edwards, and Dalvin Cook were. Those guys combined ran the ball over 30 times, and they ran combined for over 100 yards. So if Baltimore really wants to get this win, man, you've got to have that good balanced attack. Have Lamar do it in the air. But if you can get that running game going, not with just Lamar, but with the rest of those guys, as I mentioned, that's a hard team. And you brought a good point, man. That defense is tremendous. They held C.J. Stroud 19 to 33 passing, 175, no touchdowns, no INTs for him. But, there was just really nowhere for them to go. They were catching passes, but nothing super crazy, obviously. They didn't score a passing touchdown. So the defense for Baltimore is as you mentioned, probably the best left in the NFL in both sides of the ball. But, I think that what they've done is super impressive. And then flipping over to the Chiefs, look, man, the Bills just they just I don't know. The Chiefs just have their number.
Right.
And yes, I know everyone obviously looks at, Tyler Bass and his missed field goal, right? That would have tied the game, Jay. Not tied it, not won it. But the thing that I always say, and what I've been saying to people this past week, is that the game isn't won and lost in the last 2 minutes. There's a whole three quarters games left to play. And Jay, I was seeing drop passes. I was seeing just bad play on the Bills offense. I was seeing Kansas City do what they do, march down the field. And while, yes, obviously it does sting, it was a wide right. You could have prevented that. They could have easily, Jay, if they caught some passes, didn't drop them. There's a whole lot of stuff that could have went into that game that Buffalo could have and honestly should have won. But that's just not how it's shaked out, man. That's not how it works. It feels like Kansas City is just kind of surviving week by week. I don't know if you get that feeling. But
yeah, I absolutely have that feeling.
I'm not getting that domination that Kansas City was kind of doing in previous years, to where, they just kind of steamroll opponents, how they would just get the simple win. Obviously, they did well against Miami, no question about that. But even just kind of looking at their regular season, they weren't really blowing teams out. A lot of close wins for the most part. And, it continued last week. They played their cards right, and they got the win in a tight one. But as I just mentioned with Baltimore, if Kansas City wants to win this ball game, obviously you got to have Patrick Mahomes or MVP and all that. I have him obviously have a good game. But the running game of Isaiah Pacheco really impressed me last week. That was a really good factor for me, saying that, okay, maybe Kansas City has found something, Jay. Ran the ball 15 times for 97 yards. That's 6.5 average. I mean, Kansas City, as we know, is one of the lower-ranking teams in terms of rushing yards. I mean, you got Patrick Mahomes, obviously, but it's good that they had that balance last week in that win. You threw the ball for 215. You ran the ball for 146. I mean, that'll get it done. That's how they got that win. You know, solid defense overall. Nick Bolton, Justin Reed, Jarius Sneed, just a few guys that had really good performances. And I think this is going to be a good matchup, man. But I'll go ahead and give my final prediction, kick it back to you, and then we'll move on to the NFC. I think it's going to be a good game, but I will have to go with Baltimore. I like what they've done. I think they have a super solid team up and down. I like their defense better than KC. And I'll go the final score, my friend, of the Baltimore Ravens putting up 33, and I'll have the Kansas City Chiefs 20. I'll go 24. I think that KC is going to put up a good fight. Obviously, they're going to be on the road. It's going to be tougher for them, but I think Baltimore's just got the momentum. Before I give it to you, Frankie chimed in saying the Ravens are going to be smoking KC as his prediction. Are you going to go with the trifecta, Jay? You also going to have the Ravens winning, or are you going to go with a different approach?
No, I'm 100% right there, and I'm going to tell you why. Look, like I was telling you earlier in my first rant, Josh Allen put up 72 yards on 12 carries and 2 touchdowns on the ground. That's just what he did on the ground. He didn't really do a whole lot in the air, a little over 189. But what he did on the ground is what I want to focus on, because not only did he put up 72, but Cook put up 61. So my point with that is 61 and 72. It's like 140-something yards, 130-something yards between the two of them. But the biggest thing I want to point out is Josh Allen. Look, if Josh Allen could put 72 and 2 touchdowns on your defense, what do you think Lamar's going to do?
Then so.
And that really is the biggest thing for me, Logan. It's not what Kansas City is going to do on the offensive side, because they know they had a pretty good offense over there. But the problem is they can't do it on defense. And I think Lamar's going to kill him. And number 2, I don't think that Kelsey and Rice are enough to get past that quarterback. I mean, Josh Allen only put up 189, and he has Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis and that little number 10 guy, Shakir, who runs like a little gnat. And they held them in check on the receiving side of it. So, no, I absolutely think that this is where it comes to an end for Patrick Mahomes. It was a great run. I salute you. But I told you, I'm going to tell you again, you jabronis, don't get involved with celebrities. They're a curse every single time, and you're going to find out come Baltimore Ravens.
All right, man. Let's keep it moving. We're going to go to the NFC now. And the feel-good story of the year, right?
Yeah.
The team of the year, you could even say, in terms of all the crap they went through and the success they're enjoying now. Their first NFC championship game, Jay, since the early 90s. The Detroit Lions, they've done it. My God, they've done it. They've won 2 games in the playoffs for the first time in God knows how long. And now they face the steamrollers known as the San Francisco 49ers. So, Jay, give us your thoughts on this one, and will we'll call it the Cinderella run for Detroit continue?
Yeah, absolutely. Number 1, San Fran is heavily favored. ESPN's got them at 74% chance at winning, and they got Detroit right at about 26% chance at winning. And I'm kind of right there. I don't know if my graphic would be quite that. I think I might look at more like a 60-40 split percent chances for the Niners to get that win. But I don't think that ESPN is wrong in giving the Niners that win, or that greatest percent of chance to win, for a number of reasons. Number 1, we know Debo doesn't have a fracture in his shoulder, so there's no damage there. It really is for Debo. Can he deal with the pain of a sore shoulder? And, last time I checked, Logan, they got steroids that can numb out a little bit of pain as long as there's no structural damage. And that guy will go out there and he'll run just as fast as Debo runs, right? And that's the thing, because, when they played the Packers, Debo went down that second half. And, of course, the 49ers or the Packers made it a close win, but it didn't take the 49ers out of it. Like, they still battled back. Ayuk battled back, Jennings, Jawan Jennings with some of those great catches that we saw him catch, battle back, Chase Young and Bosa and all those companies on defense battle back against, the Packers. I got to tip my hat to Jordan Love. You're much, much, much better than I gave you credit for. You did a great job. Jared Goff is coming in there with a chip. The Lions themselves are going to have a chip, right? I mean, it's been since like the 1930s or 40s since they got back to the level for which they're at. So there's a lot going on there with this team in terms of the emotional aspect and things of that nature. And hopefully that stage isn't too big for them, that they don't go out there and try too hard to get past San Francisco. Because sometimes, Logan, when you try too hard, that's when mistakes happen. That's when false starts happen. That's when offsides happens. That's when grabbing the guy or pass interferences or, things of that nature happen. So I don't want them to try too hard. I want them to get settled in and comfortable. But, again, you're going into San Francisco and enemy territory, and this team is loaded to the hilt, right? McCaffrey, we saw what he did. Like I said, Ayuk, you saw what he did. Purdy is not the kind of guy that gets rattled. He seems to find Kittle and company when he needs to. So I fully expect this 49ers team to be 100% ready to go, and they are battle-tested. For those of you who don't know, San Fran has been battle-tested, and they've seemed to come to the point where last year, if Brock Purdy doesn't go down, I think they would have got the Super Bowl last year, to be honest. I think they had a really good shot at it. So this year they've improved a little bit more health is on their side. Turn it over real quick before I give it to you, Logan. I just want to point out one thing on Detroit. That 1-2 punch of Montgomery and Gibbs is going to be huge for them. Laporta is still in there, so that's going to be huge. So they have, and I don't know if you want, Logan, one of the biggest things I took away from that game was when they were playing Tampa, Jahmyr Gibbs was a huge part of that run game, more so than I've seen through him throughout the whole season. He caught passes, he ran it, he found holes, they blocked well for him, and he got long runs. I think one of his runs was like 31 yards. This team has what it takes with Aiden Hutchinson and Garner out there making it tough. They got the defense, they got the offense, they got good coaching. They just got to go out there and play their game and not try to make things happen that shouldn't try to happen.
Well said. I'll talk about Detroit first. We just talked about the Ravens having one of the most complete teams. I mean, this is, the number 2 and 3 options right here, I would say. With Detroit, they've been fighting all year. And I mean, honestly, Jay, is it too crazy to say that Jared Goff has been the most impressive quarterback in this postseason? I mean, with as well as he's played, man. I mean, he hasn't been turning the ball over. He's made good passes, good throws, and he's helped will this team to the conference championship with his arm. So, I mean, that's just, a testament to him. You mentioned the 1-2 punch of Montgomery, Dave Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, I think, was maybe the MVP of, last week in that win.
Yeah.
9 carries for 74 yards and a touchdown. Then he got done in the air a little bit as well. 4 grabs for 40 yards. So, I mean, that's a big X factor right there. I mean, obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown's been tremendous. Sam Laporta, banged up knee and all. He's getting it done. And then, as we know, their defense, man, has just been, for the most part, lights out. Hasn't always been pretty, but when it's on, Jay, you can tell they are clicking on all cylinders. They have a tremendous defense when they're tackling right, when they've got good coverage. You can tell how talented this team is. And also, man, they're super young. There's a lot of young guys on this team. That's scary. They got 4 sacks last week. That's going to be a big factor. How much can they get to Brock Purdy and company? Can they crack past that offensive line there in San Francisco? That's going to be a big factor to me. And can the defense keep holding off? Can the offense get it rolling also? I mean, like I said, 2 interceptions on defense, 1 to seal the game against Baker. And the offense has just kind of been chugging along, man, each and every single week. There's not a whole lot of holes in that team. So it's going to be a tight one. But as for San Francisco, talking about them real quick, I mean, if you look at the score, Jay, 24-21, right? Close win. But you'll look and you'll see, San Francisco scored with like a minute left in the game. Well, Jay, that's because they ran the ball so many times. They took it I think, almost, 20 plays almost over 5.5 minutes. So that wasn't we're running out of time. We got to get something going here. To me, that showed me that this team is meticulous. They study, and they were able to just pick apart that Green Bay defense any way they want to in that final drive and left them with not much time left on the clock, as we know. And, I mean, we've talked about, this team with obviously Christian McCaffrey, who, when he is healthy, and he has been healthy, one of the best players, not just running backs on the planet. I mean, he got 2 touchdowns last week. George Kittle also, quietly, I would say, putting in work, kind of that second fiddle in terms of how that offense is ran. Juwan Jennings, Brandon Ayuk, those have been guys who have really had a really good postseason also. And I got to say, for the most part, that defense in San Francisco has been pretty good too. They got some dogs, man. Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner, Logan Ryan, Nick Bosa, obviously, Chase Young. I mean, we know the talent they've got. And I mean, this is going to be dude, I'm so pumped for this game.
Yeah.
I mean, really, we have 4 really good teams going at it in, solid games in the AFC and the NFC. But I don't know which one's going to be closer, Jay. It's going to be Baltimore, or if it's going to be with Detroit and company. But I've been racking my brain on this one. And I think, unfortunately, the story will end here for Detroit. But I have this one being a nail-biter. I got this one being close. I think, obviously, Detroit's going to put up a hell of a fight, as they always do. But I'll have to go with my original prediction for the Super Bowl filling out, and that is the Ravens and 49ers. And, Jay, can't go past it once the postseason starts, and that's what I picked it. So I got to go with the teams I've selected. But, man, what a run Detroit has had. And if they win and my prediction is ruined, then you know what? I'll erase it with a smile. I'll erase it with a smile, Jay McLovin, because this team, it's captured the heart of America. It's captured all the football fans, all the Detroit fans, for God's sake. I mean, right. The stadium last week, it's something I haven't really ever seen. So if you didn't watch the game, the Lions on offense, Jay, their crowd was pretty much dead silent.
Yeah.
And then once the ball got flipped over and it was their defense on the field, I mean, they were blowing the roof off the place with how loud it was.
Yeah.
And that was just one of the most kind of surreal experiences, because wherever you go, you're going to have obviously a hot crowd. But for them to kind of contain their excitement and let the offense cook, I mean, I thought that was really cool. It would have been great to be in the stadium at that. But as I mentioned, I'll kick it back to you for your final score and whatnot. Give me the 49ers in a tight ball game, 28-25.
Yeah, and I want to point out just a couple of things here real quick.
Yeah,
one thing that I think that also could very well be one of the hardest things for Detroit is Ragnow. If you watch that game, the last game they played against Tampa, twice he got his leg or his foot was rolled over twice. So he's listed as questionable right now. I do expect him to play, barring anything else. I expect him to play because they don't have him listed as doubtful. And then, Logan, when you're listed as questionable and you're the center of the Detroit Lions, you're going to play. Yeah. The problem is, I just wonder. I wonder 2 things. I wonder, number one, how effective will he be with that foot injury, and then number 2, will he re-aggravate or re-injure it again, having to put in somebody else? So, anybody else, I'd say, what? But when it's your center, that's a lot right there. That is a lot. So I'm definitely gonna keep my eye out closely on Ragnow in that game and see how well he produces and how well he can keep the pressure off of Jared Goff, since he is the center of that team. That's number 1. Oh. Number 2 for me is, St. Brown and Laporta and Gibbs. Between those guys, that's 12. That's 21. So 21 out of the 30 completions from Jared Goff went to those guys in that order. Brown had 8. Laporta actually had 9. And then Gibbs had 4. And then after that, it was Jamison Williams with 2. So, obviously, if you're the Lion or if you're San Francisco, you're going to be obviously gearing up on St. Brown the most. But if I'm San Fran, I'm gonna gear up on St. Brown, but I'm gonna have my linebackers and my safeties really keep a good eye out on Gibbs, Laporta, and company for those short intermediate passes that he's going to want to use as a security blanket in case Laporta is not open. So I think it's I guess what the point I'm making or trying to make is I think San Francisco has way more weapons to contend with than what the Lions are going to have. And that's, number one, is going to be a huge thing for me. Number two is obviously the health and effectiveness of Ragnow. And then the number three thing would be the coaching and the play calling. More specifically, when I say play calling, is I think for the Lions, they have got to control the clock. Like, I really think if the Lions want a Lions chance in hell at beating San Fran, it's going to have to be through time of possession and not having any turnovers, right? They got to have it. If they can get a two-headed monster of Montgomery and Gibbs running the ball effectively to where they can control the clock, then it could be a very different game for San Francisco. And actually, Detroit could win through effective clock management in that run game. If the run game just isn't doing what it's supposed to do, then it's going to be San Fran. So watch for those things when you're watching the game. And I think that's going to give you the winner. But I do got to believe with the amount of weapons that San Fran has, Logan, I'm right there with you, man. And I'm going to go San Fran. I do expect it to be a close game just because of what Detroit has come and where they've gotten to, honestly.
Yeah, it's I'm looking forward to both of these games, man. We got some great matchups. Oh my goodness. I mean, I don't think this postseason has really let down outside the first round with a bunch of blowouts. Last week was great. I'm expecting big things out of these games here. But Super Bowl, as we know, right around the corner. We'll see which teams make it. Will it be Detroit? Will it be San Francisco, Jay? Or back on the AFC side, will it be Kansas City? Will it be Baltimore? I mean, we've got obviously great teams here, and it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun matchup, man. But since we got a little bit of time left, we'll go quick into it. We've had a few coaches make their debut with their teams, get signed, 3 to be exact. Jared Mayo out there in New England. And here just recently, as of yesterday, Brian Callahan, I believe, Cincinnati, former Louis Cincinnati, is not going to be a new head coach. So, Jay, just your quick thoughts on that since we got a few minutes here.
Yeah, I saw Callahan. I was reading where it looks like he's going to sign when he gets to be Tennessee's coach, the Titans now. So he's going over to that part of the realm. I saw where Harbaugh now is getting his second interview out there with the Chargers, which is why I fully expect if Logan, if I'm, it really kind of depends on. I think Belichick will be a Falcon unless he just chooses not to. I really think that is just his job. I think they are fully invested in bringing him in. So I really expect Belichick to kind of lead that direction. I fully expect Harbaugh to take over with Justin Herbert. I think that's really a good fit for him that he's going to want to take on, especially with that defense. They got a pretty decent defense over there, pretty good offense. I think some tweaks from him left or right. I think it's going to make them contenders. I'm really curious now. I've seen now that there are reports where it looks like Ron Rivera could possibly be the Eagles' defensive coordinator. I told Pags and them I didn't like that move. I thought that was going to be more stagnant and more antiquated for what they want to do. But so be it. That's what they want to go with. I really want to kind of just see where Washington leads. Right? Will it be Bieniemy's team? Who is going to take over that Washington Commanders job? That's really the job that I want to see now. Mainly because they're in our division, and I want to see who this new ownership group is going to lean towards.
No, it's going to be interesting, man. And as you mentioned, the Eagles are pretty much cleaning house, the exception of Sirianni. Obviously, the Cowboys announced Mike McCarthy is going to be in his final season. We don't know if it's going to be his last year, but this will be the last year of his contract. So a lot going on, man. As you mentioned, Bill Belichick and Harbaugh, where will they sign? Will they sign? And it's a lot going on, man. But all the, as you guys know, all the free agency, all the coaching moves, everything else, trades, you can find us here on the network. Once again, we go live each and every single week on the following social media platforms you see on your screen. That's going to be on Facebook, X, TikTok, YouTube, and on Twitch. And also, you can check us out on LinkedIn if you have that. Connect with us on a professional level. And like I said, if you want to come help out with the network, best way to reach us is over there. As always, for my co-host, Jay McLovin, I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers. Guys, go out, enjoy some football this weekend. We got some great matchups. Until then, we'll talk to you guys again on another live episode of Unscripted here on the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network. We'll talk to you soon.